Welcome back to the Football Terrace. It's Monday evening, Monday night football on the way tonight. An excellent weekend for some of us, a stressful weekend for others. We've got loads to delve into tonight. So I'm joined by EGAL. I've got man like the Don. Sam's in the house, and Mr. Chocolate Voice himself, the best voice on social media. Gav is in the house as well, smooth as chocolate. How's it going, gents? You all good?
Yeah, of course. After the last minute winner, couldn't be better.
I bet. An audience, I want a little thing for you tonight. Where are you all watching from? Let us know right now in the live comments what country you're watching from, what city you're watching from. I always like to know where people are consuming the Football Terrace from around the world. Be nice to know. Yeah, Sweet Like Chocolate. That was a great garage tune. That Sweet Like Chocolate boy. If you're into UK garage, that will make complete and utter sense. But we've got lots to come up tonight, people. We're going to be looking at Ralf Rangnick's statement that he made in the Premier League yesterday. Liverpool, of course, coming in at the death. Mo Salah speaking out about his contract situation as well. We're going to take a look ahead of Arsenal's game against Everton this evening. How much pressure has mounted on Arsenal after they dropped to 7th place in the table against an Everton team that are also in a little bit of turmoil. But Rafa Benitez has got what he wanted today. The two people at board level at Everton, one's been sacked and the second is on his way out. So if I sack two people for you, you better deliver. So it's going to be an interesting show tonight. We want your takes, we want your views, we want your opinions. But let's start with Mo Salah. I want to start with Mo Salah tonight, boys, and I'm going to Don on this first. What is your take on his message? I know most of Liverpool on socials will just say there's nothing in it. He wants to re-sign. He says he wants to re-sign. This shouldn't be made into something bigger than it is. Do you agree? Or should there be some focus here on FSG? What are they stalling on and why hasn't the deal been done yet?
I mean, first of all, I just want to say it's actually a very good statement in a way, because it shows us where we are, our position as a club. Obviously, if this was 2013, 14, 15, we were, let's face it, we were a selling club. Obviously, Sterling, Suarez, the number 4, etc. The statement would have been much different. It's an honor to be linked to Barcelona. It'll be a dream to play there one day, etc., etc. Mo Salah kept it real. He said, yes, it's an honor to be linked to them, but I'm happy. I want to stay here. So he said everything we want to hear. Now, here's the thing. Am I worried that Mo Salah's contract will not be renewed? No, I'm almost certain that he's going to stay. I think even if there's like few differences regarding like monetary things in the contract and stuff, at the end of the day, he loves the fans, he loves the club loves him. His legacy is being built in the Premier League as one of the greatest. Like, at the end of the day, let's face it, if for the next 2-3 years he keeps doing this, then it's going to be uncomfortable conversation for a few fan bases. So am I worried? No. However, in the scenario that he does not renew his contract, then we're going to be having incredibly harsh conversations about our owners. I think some of the most strongest FSG in people, the people who support them, would begin to question that decision, because a player like Mo Salah, everything he's given to the club, obviously being the top goal scorer, dragging us, as they say, carrying us basically. I think he definitely deserves as much money as he wants, and no one at the club should even think to knock on Jurgen Klopp's door and ask anywhere near his money, because Mo Salah has been doing stuff that no one else on the pitch has been doing. Not one player in that squad has done what Mo Salah has been doing. Mo Salah this season alone, he has the most goals in the Premier League. He has the most assists in the Premier League. He has the most big chances created in the Premier League. And in terms of just chances created without big, he's I think second or third. So he's literally doing everything on the football pitch, creativity, goals, and he's given 5 fantastic years to the club. So I think if it doesn't happen, then we're going to have that conversation. But I am not worried. I think he's definitely staying.
Hussam, this is why you shouldn't be worried. Barcelona is not the team that's going to come get him. The team that would come get him is probably like a PSG. So if the links to PSG were stronger, then you should maybe be a little bit more worried, because they have the financial clout to then get the deal over the line. But what I'm hearing about Mo Salah the deal being done, I heard this a couple of weeks ago. Your fans saying that this deal's done. You know what? The deal might have already been spoken about, But Liverpool have not yet offered him what he wants. Until they offer him what he wants, he's going to be in the negotiation seat. And as long as this drags out, another club might come involved. It might get more shaky. Come next year, if the deal's not done come January, this guy could go on a free. Then at that point, Liverpool's done for. But right now, you guys are good.
Look, at the end of the day, right, his contract doesn't actually run out until 2023.
Yeah.
It's Mo Salah. He's arguably the best player in the world right now. Why mess around with the negotiations? It's not like it is arguably, yeah, because some people's opinion might be slightly different. For me, this season, I don't think there's been anyone better in the league so far in world football this season so far. But that's just my opinion. Other people probably think differently. But then at the end of the day, with his stock being so high, just give him what he wants. If this was like, I don't know, Jordan Henderson asking for an obscene amount of money, then I understand it. But Liverpool are in a position where they have, as I said, was arguably the best player in the world. Why play tit for tat? And why try and squeeze out an extra 10 grand here, 10 grand there? If he wants £500,000 a week, give him £500,000 a week.
I couldn't agree more. I think Mo Salah is an exceedingly ambitious man. I think he wants to win more league titles, more Champions Leagues. I think he has his sights set on GOAT conversations. Now, I'm not too sure whether professional football players talk about it in the same way we do. And I say that because I've met a lot of footballers. They call training and games work. We don't. You know what I mean? We call them matches and games, that they call them work. So maybe they've got a different terminology within the game. Maybe, I don't know. I digress. FSG just need to just get it done. I think because you don't want anything to potentially get in the way of challenging for titles. You don't want any kind of distractions. You don't want any kind of fan pressure. And you know what, for FSG's point of view, why infuriate the diehard Reds again? There's been a number of occasions over the years where they've done things that have annoyed people. Mo Salah is the greatest Premier League, I'm just going to say attacker you've ever had, because I don't want to trigger anybody today. The greatest attacker you've ever had in the Premier League era in terms of what he's won and the level of outputs that he's had. Subjectivity can come into play. Some will think Owen was better. Some will think Fowler was better. Some will think Torres was better. I don't care. In terms of deliverance of goals and the major trophies, he's been the greatest you've had, in my opinion. Don't mess him about. Replacing Mo Salah is actually impossible, because Mo Salah is worth, in terms of outputs, performances, and ability, 150 to 200 million pounds. In my opinion, FSG are never going to spend that amount of money on one singular player. You even toy with the idea of losing him. Even toying with it is stupidity. And I think Mo Salah's comments tell me there's slight issues, as in, why haven't they just made the final offer yet? But I think they will. I don't think they are stupid enough not to renew it. Sorry?
I have one theory. Hypothetical.
Same. I have a prediction as well.
Hypothetical. PSG currently have a player running his contract down. If Liverpool somehow were to get Mbappe ahead of Real Madrid and pay him that ridiculous amount of money, and Salah then ends up leaving because they can't match Salah's wages, that would make sense to a certain degree.
It wouldn't, because Mbappe would ask for more money than Mo Salah would.
Yeah.
And Mo Salah is already delivered. I have a more realistic theory. I think they're just doing what they did in the summer. I don't know if you guys remember, but Liverpool just did a bunch of contract renewals in the summer. I think they're just waiting for January. So it's Terry, you know how club PR works. They're just waiting for January when there's pressure and let's make signings. And Salah and Mane is going for AFCON, blah, 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 blah. Where they'll wait until it's like the pressure mountain is still here of people demanding signings. Then they'll go like Salah contract renewal. I foresee that happening already. That's what they did the entire summer.
Yeah, I think that is the most likely rationale and reason as to why this has not been done yet. Let's just bide our time and we can use it, because I'm pretty sure, especially if you have any injuries going into January, I'm pretty sure we're going to see from one of the Liverpool tier ones, and don't worry about this January, because in the next window, Liverpool are going to go big. I'm pretty sure we're going to see that statement for like the 10th window running. Comment here says, watching from Dallas, Texas, but rep, I don't know what rep who?
Jamaica.
Oh, Jamaica. Cool. I didn't.
Jamaica,
JM. Okay, cool. Is the
Good that we
phrase
said.
smash and grab at the death? That isn't the secret football terrace phrase, but thank you very much for having a guest there, my friend. I really appreciate that. We have a super chat that's come through from for it here that says, in my opinion, FSG will renew his contract in January, and that will be our January transfer window. Won't be any new signings, but Salah renewal will keep fans happy. Deborah Luck says, Terry, I was mistaken when I said you didn't mention CR7. You overdosed on his name. I understand, as I can't go an hour without saying Messi. Let's try again. Mo Salah will stay. Do you know what I'll do then? You pick the date, the game, and I will not say his name during that. But I need to, like, you. I don't ever get clarification from you that today is the day that the bet is on, Debs. So even if you just send me a DM privately and say, this game at this point, you can't mention his name, because I'm winning that $1,000. You just need to tell me when, and I will win it. I promise you that. But yeah, look, I think Mo Salah is going to stay. I think he probably just wants it. He doesn't want to be part of the PR. Like, I'm sure he just wants it done and out the way, because he's going to start getting asked that question in so many interviews soon. It's going to become maybe not a distraction. That's the wrong word. But, you know, like, managers don't like being asked transfer questions in press conferences because they're not allowed to answer it. It's just a pointless question. He's never going to be able to answer it clearly. He'll just have to say it's on the ball. We're waiting for them. But look, with Liverpool doing so well at the moment, I'm pretty sure that, you know, the fans are not going to be scathing too much. And have you recovered after the ecstasy of the weekend, Hasim? How are you feeling now? Because that last minute Divock Origi winner.
That was a madness. That was madness. Terry, I'm not sure you watch basketball. There's a player by the name of, I'm gonna say it the American way, because the way my accent is just gonna butcher his name. They say Robert Horry, the player who used to play in the 90s. He has about 7 championship rings. He was never the player. He was never the guy, but he always came in the clutch. There's literally interviews. I still remember Tim Duncan coming out and saying, if this guy doesn't take the game seriously, just get him in when you need the last minute basket and he'll deliver. And it's the same with Divock Origi. Like, you guys do not understand. If there's a one-on-one in the 92nd minute to save my life, I'm not taking Salah. I'm not taking Gerrard. I'm not taking Messi. I'm taking him. I'm taking Divock Origi, because he is just a madman. Like, every time you just need something in the 90th minute, he somehow delivers. My voice went. My celebration in the watch along, like, my voice, like, I fully shouted. I think the entire neighborhood just woke up and was like, who's this crazy guy and what's he doing? For me, the passage of play, the pass from Virgil, the control from Mo, the audacity from Origi to turn in his own box, to turn in the penalty box about 2 yards away from goal, and then just take it with his left foot. Games that are won, like the game against Wolves, I actually prefer more than a 3-4-0, because games like this shift momentum. Momentum. That's why I like it.
I would much rather. Do you know what's funny? Man United yesterday, and we'll get onto them later. I thought we played very well for large parts. I was kind of happier with a fairly late winner and a good goal than winning 3 or 4-0. There's something about the joy, the ecstasy and relief you get from that. There's a very different feeling to trouncing a team. You know, if you know the way Man United won the Champions League in 1999, it's the most famous final ever, winning it in the most dramatic way ever. I would take that over beating the team 3-0. Like, with hindsight, always with hindsight. Like, ahead before the game, I want to win easy and relax and chill. But I hear you on that. Look, I think Liverpool laid down a huge marker, and I believe that this title, just crazy. I was thinking about this over the weekend. One of Liverpool, Chelsea, or City's finishing 3rd, and when you say it out loud, that sounds bad. But actually, they could be separated by 1 or 2 points and a bit of goal difference in there. So it's going to be amazing. I wanted to speak about Chelsea as well, though, just briefly before we move on to Man United. Do you guys feel like cracks are appearing at the club amongst the fan base? Like, there seems to just be something. I don't even know what the right word for it is, and I don't want to be hyperbolic. I don't want to go over the top. I don't want to. I still my favourites. I'm not changing anything that I've said. But do you kind of feel like maybe there's a bit of an issue there? Because it feels to me like no Kante, they're not the same team.
Yeah, I don't know.
The flow doesn't seem the same with Lukaku. What are you saying?
I think that's almost like a bit of disservice to West Ham. West Ham are a good side, and they're smashing it at the moment. They've taken points off a lot of big teams, And like when they lost against Man City, everyone was like, "Oh yeah, that's West Ham done now, isn't it?" Very much similar to the situation that happened with Leicester back in 15-16. Every week was like, "Right, this is going to be the week that they lose. This is going to be the week that they lose." I think we need to put some more respect on West Ham. And like end of the day, Chelsea actually played all right. I thought Chelsea played quite well. But when you're playing against a team that, when they're defending, have just got a flat back five, that's very difficult to break down. It doesn't matter who you are. And we've seen that with many teams that have had a real strong like defensive structure. There's been games that Chelsea have played in where they've dominated and not been able to hit the target at the end. The main one for me was the Burnley game when they drew 1 apiece. But this West Ham one, I think that's a bit disservice on them. Chelsea are going to be fine. I think they've got enough players in the middle of the park to deal with that. They can play without Kante. They've done it loads of times already and got results out of it. Then their next game, they're going to slap and everyone's going to be like, "Oh, what was the problem?"
This is where Thomas Tuchel needs to make his money, because at the end of the day, you got Jurgen Klopp, who has less squad depth than Chelsea, but has a better first 11. You have Man City, who has a team that's been together for a lot longer, and they know what they're doing. And also you have a manager in Pep who's won the league numerous times with City, and you have Thomas Tuchel, who still hasn't delivered in the league when it comes down to it. And he has players in that front three who he's been chopping and changing week in, week out. He does not know his best he does not know his best attacking options. Those 3 attacking options need to change every single game until they sort it out. And that is going to be to their detriment. They're not going to win the league because of their attack. Their defense is one of the best defenses in the league, but their attack, it is not sustainable to get goals from your defenders every single game. Eventually, you need your attackers to come and start scoring goals. Lukaku needs to start delivering. Havertz needs to start delivering. Mount is doing his job. Ziyech needs to start delivering. Timo Werner needs to start delivering, or else Chelsea is not coming nowhere near City and Liverpool, because they are.
This is a good opportunity, Egal, though. This is a good opportunity for them to do it, because the Club World Cup has now been delayed until February. So because of that, there's not going to be a breakup of momentum during the Christmas break. They've got Zenit on Wednesday. That's fine. They're already through. They haven't got to worry about that. They've got Leeds at home, Everton at home, Wolves away. You know, this Chelsea side should be able to dominate these. Well, they'll dominate all 3 of these sides, in my opinion. It's just, I understand where you're coming from in terms of getting goals, but the way they spread the ball about, they can get goals from out wide. And if you want to get a bit of confidence, then this is probably the time to start Lukaku. He's been out. He has been out injured as well, so that's why he didn't start at the weekend. He's only really coming back. So if he starts this week, he might even give him a run out at Zenit just to get him match fit, and then at home, back at Stamford Bridge against Leeds United, a place so expansive. This is opportunity for Lukaku to get his confidence back.
I think as well. I think to say nowhere near is mad. If we look at the past 12 months, they have been on par with everyone. The City and Liverpool have not been 10, 15, 20 points better than them. And I know there's a difference between a full proper season and a calendar year. But within that calendar year, they also become champions of Europe, proving that they have staying power. They know how to win important games. They know how to win those gateway moments as well, where it's like today you win or it's bust. I think they had a bad day in the office. They had a bad day in the office, and that's all it was. And they've gone for a little period against Burnley, and then Man United's game was just a freak result with how many opportunities they had. They played poorly against Watford, but won. And they got beat by West Ham, by the way, this year have beaten Liverpool. They've beaten Man United. They've beaten Manchester City, albeit on penalties, but they didn't get beat by them in the game. And look, Man City's 3rd team is as strong as West Ham's 1st team when you do it pound for pound. So they've beaten a lot of the big boys this year already. I think people writing off Chelsea, I think it's far too early to be doing that at this moment in time. It's interesting when you look at the context of the title race, every game matters. You know, any missed opportunity, any point drop could be pivotal come the end of the year. But none of these teams have problems in comparison to like the rest of the league. We're kind of nitpicking amongst the elite. I feel like some Chelsea fans are overreacting with their criticism of their team. I think some Chelsea fans are almost trying to make themselves some kind of underdog, which is ridiculous. No, Liverpool, City and Chelsea, none are underdogs at any point. When you spend billions on transfers and salaries over a 3 to 4 year period, you're never an underdog. Like none of us, none of the big, by the way, none of the top 6 are underdogs. We spend too much money. You know what I mean? You're not Burnley. You're not Bournemouth. You know, you're Chelsea, you're Liverpool, you're City. So I wouldn't write them off right now. I just think they've gone through. Liverpool had a little bad patch where they, through a few games. City had a bad patch. Where they lost a few games, or they didn't lose. I think they lost one, but they drew some games and they weren't scoring. This is Chelsea's little bad patch, and I'm pretty sure they're going to hit a run of 3, 4, 5 games on the bounce again that they win, and everyone will just stop thinking about this. You are right, though. They do need to get some of their front men scoring. Lukaku's back from injury now, and he has to.
Their wing backs able to play football as well, because their wing backs do not know how to play the thing they did. No, I'm never gonna let this go. I'm never gonna let it go. Chelsea fans are incredible at blah 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 blah. When it's time to be here and take it, they're nowhere to be seen. This is Chelsea fans. So they chatted the most rubbish after we lost 3-2 to West Ham about Trent, even though none of the goals was his fault. Let's talk about Reece James now, crossing stuff into the other corner flag. Let's talk about Reece James taking free kicks and crossing into the West Ham fans. Let's talk about Reece James. I can do the same things they're doing. Just find a way to blame everything on Trent. Guys, if Reece James didn't whisper in Lanzini's ear, Lanzini wouldn't have scored. Guys, if Reece James covered the Masuaku goal, maybe he wouldn't have shot it. Blah, 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 blah. Chelsea fans are always the loudest mouths on earth. But when it's time for them to take criticism, they're nowhere to be seen. Reece James had a stinker. The guy who deserved the Ballon d'Or had a stinker as well. Their striker came on, didn't have the best of games. Havertz is missing chance after chance, but no one's talking about him because his future looks bright. Their defense, I think, is still good. Their keeper is good as well. He just had a bad game. Maybe that's why Donnarumma won the Leviation Award, but that's a different discussion for a different day. So this is just what happens. Sometimes their fans just overhype their players. We all heard we have the best midfield in the league. We have the best defense in the league. We have heard those two. We have the best keeper in the league. We have heard all 3 statements. We got told, even if Jorginho and Kante went missing, we have Saul, we have Loftus-Cheek, we have Kovacic. So now don't use injuries as an excuse. Deal with it. The same way you told us to deal with it, and you tell people with injuries to deal with it, now it's your turn to deal with it. Show us how strong your squad is. Show me how great your squad is, so then we can actually have a discussion about the squad thing. They like, I'm done. I'm like, I don't even have anything more.
Let me add on to what Hussam's saying. Hussam, when you watch Liverpool, when you watch City, when you watch Chelsea, out of those teams, Chelsea plays the least attractive football. Chelsea plays, they just win, right? They just get the job done. Like, I get their whole system is to just get the good job done. They don't care how they do it. But to a certain point, everyone keeps saying Chelsea are not playing in full gear. Chelsea are not playing in full gear. Chelsea are playing in third gear. Guess what? Eventually, you're going to start calling a spade a spade. They're not playing that well. They're winning these games. They're getting the job done sometimes, but they have not been playing that well in doing it.
Doesn't that scare you, though?
So
when you're not playing well and getting results, what's going to happen?
You could say it that way. You could say it that way, but we've been saying it that way the whole season. The whole season we've been saying, oh my God, they have a gear to go up to.
Okay.
But guess what? It could be that they're playing a way that is unsustainable.
So what you're suggesting is their form for the last 12 months, winning the Champions League and being top for the majority, like being top recently.
But
that's
listen,
let me ask a question. I'm trying to understand you so everyone is clear on what you mean. Are you saying that they're punching above their weight, that they're not as good as their league position and their achievements in the last 12 months suggest?
In the league, yes, they've been good since the turn of the new year, but so has also Arsenal been. And when we talk about these things, we talk about it in 2 different ways. We're talking about from this season. From the beginning of the season, they've been playing in third gear and they have not stepped up to what their full potential is. Eventually, we're going to have to start to realize that this is how they actually are.
So I want to get clarity. So what you're saying is that you think they might be playing at their maximum level.
I think their attackers have been underperforming, and if they do perform, they do have a level to go up to. But they also could go down a level if their defenders and their midfielders don't chip in as many goals.
I can hear your point, but you sort of, your first point was they could go up, they could go down, any team could. But if they maintain this, they're a point off the top. You're not talking about a bad team here. I think it's talking about. Listen to what I'm saying.
Listen to what I'm saying.
I don't want to listen to what you're saying. I want you to clarify and be very direct in what you're saying. You're making it sound, like earlier on in the season, Brighton were in the top 4, but we all knew that was going to settle down. At some point, we knew Brighton were going to drop down the table. Like, what are you actually saying about Chelsea? What is your point? Like, do you think they've maxed out? Are they being overrated? What is the point?
My point is, Chelsea right now, everyone looks at the potential of what they could be with their attack fit and firing. My point is, if their attack does not get fit and firing, and they lack the goals in the their defenders don't chip in with those goals nowadays, and the midfielders are not chipping in as much either, they could go down a level, and they could be playing at where they're regular. They could be playing at their average level right now, and that means they could go down. And they do also have the potential to go up. But we only view it as, oh my God, they have another gear to go up to. Guess what? They also have a gear to go down. But we don't look at that because we look at them.
They do. The hole in your logic is, and your logic is sound from one direction. They could definitely drop a gear. They could go up a gear. They could stay the same. But if Trent Alexander-Arnold suddenly stopped creating, or Mo Salah suddenly stopped scoring, Liverpool could go down a level, couldn't they?
But the thing is,
okay, if the midfielders like Bernardo Silva suddenly stop scoring and delivering because they hit bad form or got injured, City could go down a level. Like, it is true, but it can happen to all of it. I don't think it's an exclusively Chelsea.
Chelsea's norm right now is that their attack has been underperforming this whole time that they've been good. Liverpool and City's norm is that they're ruthless. City will score 3-4 past you, and their attack, even when it's not performing, will still do that. When it comes to Liverpool, they can have terrible games from their attackers and somehow still get production from other players also. These things happen, but Chelsea's floor is lower than a lot of people think it is.
What about the fact that Chelsea are getting goals from all over the place? We're saying that, their striker needs to start scoring goals. This used to wind me up about the Arsenal quite a bit as well. So Arsenal need to sign a player who's going to score 25, 30 goals a season. Well, that doesn't mean you're going to add 25, 30 goals a season. That's probably going to take goals away from you. Because if you look at Chelsea right now, top goal scorers, yes, Reece James, 5 goals. Next up, Mason Mount, he's attacking. Next up, Kai Havertz, he's attacking. Next up, Jorginho, yeah, fair enough, penalties. Next up, Lukaku. So the goals are still coming from the front line. It doesn't necessarily mean that because like you said, you're getting like Rudiger chipping with a couple headers and things like that, that Lukaku and then man ain't scoring.
I don't think you guys are getting what EGAL's saying, though.
No,
you guys are not getting it.
I understand what he's saying.
He's saying this just could be their ceiling offensively.
And that was my concern. And I understand where they're coming from, but that's
they've scored the second highest goals in the Premier League so far this season. Only Liverpool will score more goals than them.
For 12 months, they've been delivering. I think, look, I totally get Gal's point. They could drop a level, but so could any of the teams at the top. You know, we saw Liverpool drop a level last year, and we don't. All different reasons for it. Like, I get your point, but that's why everyone's got their different favourites. Viewers, what do you think about Chelsea's current predicament? Are they starting to stutter and splutter and fall behind City and Liverpool, or do you just think this is a bad run of form? Do you agree with Gal, or do you think that things are a little bit more positive at Stamford Bridge? We want your thoughts, we want your feelings. Get your comments in. Smash that like and share button. We're talking Ralf Rangnick on the show next, and the pressure that he may just have applied to Mikel Arteta. So we saw Ralf Rangnick take charge of his first Manchester United game at the weekend, and I have to say, as a Man United fan, especially the first half, to see proper pressing, a decent shape, and just players getting back to defend holes when teams pass for our press, which happens to everybody throughout the course of the game, was brilliant to see. A hell of a long way to go. No one is claiming that Rome has already been built in that proverbial day. No sensible person is talking about winning titles or trophies yet under this individual, but it was a pleasure. It was beautiful to see. And I'm going to make this claim now very early on. It was nice to see football being played the United way, with speed, with energy, and with tenacity. And it's funny because a lot of people don't like the terms United DNA or the United way. For whatever reason, it seems to bother them. And I think people get caught up on, 4-4-2 with wingers is old-fashioned. That's the United way. It doesn't exist anymore. I don't think it matters the starting lineup. I don't think it matters the shape. I don't think it matters the direct tactics. But it's about moving that ball quickly. It's about pressurizing your opponents. It's about trying your best to dominate nearly every single game, especially at home, to be in control for large parts. And United did that well yesterday. As I've said, a long way to go. You saw after 35 minutes the team looked dead on their feet because they were working at a level they haven't done so already. But very encouraged I was as a Man United fan to see that level of performance from the team yesterday. It shows what they can do. Of course, transfer windows will be important. Getting the right blend of personnel is there as well. Gav, what was your take on Man United's performance yesterday?
You don't need to ask me to fly a flag for Ralf Rangnick and sing and dance for him because, you know, and if you don't know already, I'm a massive Bundesliga merchant anyway. So I already had a good feeling of what was going to be happening with Ralf Rangnick. And can we start giving Fred some flowers now? Because I've always liked Fred. And even when he was playing at Shakhtar, I've said it to you, I said it in your spaces as well, Hussam, and I've got a lot of time for Fred, and watching him play the way he did against Arsenal as well, and against Palace the other day. If you could get tune out of players that aren't normally performing to the level that they should be, Dalot turning it on right now. People are saying that he should be the fixed right back for the rest of the season. I think I said it. I've said it many times already that I am scared of Man United right now, and I'm worried about what they can achieve if they go around doing it the right way. What they've been saying, he does this job for 6 months, then he goes upstairs, runs the ship. If that happens again, we're going to see some 90s, early 2000s Man United again. And I think that performance yesterday encapsulates what we could be seeing for the next six months at least, and then going on into next year, depending if you get them like the right manager or not.
What I seen was the Manchester United fan base is starving for good football, starving for a new manager. This is Oli tax at his highest level. You guys went from Oli to Ralf Rangnick, and every single person was going, oh my God, we're playing with a system. We have this. Of course, Manchester United is going to do better with a new manager. Of course, you're going to have a little bit of bounce. And of course, the players are going to work their ass off that first game. Now, let's see if it can be sustained. I honestly do think Manchester United are going to have a good run coming up. The games that you have coming up, I do see you guys going on a long unbeaten streak. And this is going to be a long honeymoon period because you don't play anyone decent until January 22nd when you face West Ham.
You can't say that though.
Why can't I say that?
Why? You personally can't. Because you, with a number of your Arsenal fans, said after you got beat by Brentford that there's no such thing as an easy game in the Premier League, and a lot of these lesser teams are really hard to beat, so we shouldn't look at losing and dropping points to them as being detrimental. So for you to say Man United have got an easy run, we don't play anyone hard, sounds rather hypocritical to me, Egal.
Let me finish. Terry, you're the same person who says, but Arsenal didn't play anybody of note this whole season.
Okay. Like I just said, that is my opinion. Wait. I agree that we should be winning these games. You can't say that, I said, because your view is that teams like Brentford should be viewed as very hard and difficult opponents. That's my point. Okay, so based on no, not me. I'm talking about your logic. I think those games are hard. So you can't then reverse it on me. You can't
call me a hypocrite if you generally believe that the lesser teams, all the big teams should be beating them. And then when I say Manchester United should be beating
No. You're getting me wrong. You're getting it wrong. I believe the run of games we've got, we should be expected to win all of them games. We're playing, every team we play is worse than Man United, smaller than Man United. I agree with that. You don't, though, because you defend Arsenal when those teams get points against you. So you can't say that.
Stop. First things first. When we lost to Brentford,
you can't say it.
Stop. First things first, you're mistaking me with Sonny. I never fully said that. Second of all, when we were on the Bet Victor show and we were talking about Brentford getting a result against Liverpool, that's when I started to say, you know what? Brentford are a decent side. They might get more results than I expected. Now, moving on to the logic about the fixtures. Terry, on numerous times, I look at fixtures and I judge where I think teams are going to finish based on their fixtures. And I've come on this show numerous times and I've said that. So when I look at your fixtures, I see a lot of games where you should be winning. And you agree with me on that. So when it comes to that logic,
I agree with you. I agree with you. You're not proving me wrong here. You're proving yourself wrong when it comes to Arsenal not getting results against these teams, and you try and paint them as hard games. Keep that energy for your same club. Keep that energy. So when you you drop points to, if you drop points tonight to Everton, I don't want to hear Everton are a really hard team that are difficult to beat.
Everton,
I don't hear that. I don't hear that from you
Let me
anymore.
tell you right now, Everton,
In the mud.
1982, Mercedes, dead food. They're getting done out here tonight. They're getting done.
Oh, don't say that, because I'm not getting time.
You just dug yourself a hole without realizing.
Listen, the 1982 Mercedes Blue is done out here.
I love that Uno reverse card from EGAL earlier on. Like fully just Uno reverse the don't tell.
Ralf was getting sacked. Everything's going downhill for them. There's no way.
And by the way, look, on your point, I agree with your overarching point that United have got this run of games now where we really could cook up a large amount of points, and we should, irrespective of performance, irrespective of the 4-2-2 press system that we're going to be using, irrespective of all of that, United should be expected to beat these teams. Why? Our squad's worth more money than some of these football clubs are worth. Like, we sold our players to go buy half these teams. Like, we should be expected to beat them. The same as Arsenal, the same as Chelsea, the same as Tottenham, the same as Liverpool. You're absolutely spot on. I just want to see the same energy for your club when you drop points to these teams. However, to your point about being starving, you're right. We are hungry.
Yes.
We are hungry. Do you know what made me laugh, right? This is the crazy thing with football. Like I say to football, there's certain bits of banter that get under my skin. I'm like, you got me there, bruv. Everyone was messaging me, saying, you're starving, celebrating the way you played in that first half. I'm like, hang on. You laugh at us for playing bad football and having a crap manager for all this time. We're then happy that it looks better. And you try to reverse that banter by saying, look at you getting happy suddenly. Because, listen, if you ain't eating food, if you ain't eating anything for months, years, you're starving, you're malnourished, and someone gives you a nice ploughman's cheese sandwich, that sandwich is going to taste good. In fact, I'll tell you a story. I once cut out carbs for 9 months. No carbs. None. Right? I remember eating roast potatoes for the first time. They tasted like cake. They tasted like cake because I was starving for carbohydrates. And this is what we're having. So as a United fan, I don't feel embarrassed by being happy with what I saw in the first 35 to 40 minutes yesterday. Very, very encouraging. But as I've stated, a long, long way to go before we can say corners have been turned and that jazz.
You're gonna go 20 games unbeaten. You already have 3 games unbeaten. You're gonna go 20 games unbeaten. Mark my word. There's going to be draws in there, but you're going to go.
They won't. EGAL. I've seen a Ralf Rangnick similar manager. I know exactly what's going to happen. First of all, there's nothing wrong with them being starving. I had a United fan in my comment section tell me 4 minutes into the game, the last 4 minutes have been more exciting than the last 3 years. He said that as a United fan. So it's just, it's good to see a few people just smiling again. But let me say this. When it comes to Ralf Rangnick, I think in the first half, you saw what Man United was trying to do. Extremely aggressive, pressurized football, sort of like Klopp. And I said this to people pre-game as well, to United fans. I told them, some people were like, we're going to have to wait 3-4 games. I was like, no, you don't. Literally within 45 minutes, you're going to see exactly what you're going to implement. You're going to run more than you've ever ran the entire season. And that's exactly what happened. Now, here's the negative downside to it. If you guys all recall, the first season Klopp came in, we had hella muscle injuries. So many muscle injuries because the players are just not used to it. These same United players have not played a pressure system for the last 5-6 years. And now you're coming in, you're asking them to run. Even the game against Palace, like if you notice around the 60th, 65th minute mark, they were just like, it's like the steam finished, like the fuel finished in the car, if you like. And they were just blowing off steam. They were like every single time. Even Ronaldo, when I looked at him, was like, everyone was just like, because they were just running so much compared to what they used to do. So you cannot say that they're going to go 20 games unbeaten. I do not wish injury on anyone. I wish every single player in the Premier League a safe and incredible season. But based on previous evidence of what happens when you ask a team to press mid-season, it does cause injuries. So before you know it, as an example, Lindelof out 2 months. Buy out 2 months. Player X out this much. Player out X out this much. I still remember we had to field like teams with like Jerome Sinclair, Jordan Ibe, like because it was just like a depleted team. The team was not used to it.
I agree, and I've seen a few of the people in the comments that sort of like Terry, like you guys are all getting carried away. I'm not. I don't expect no 20-game unbeaten run. I don't expect to suddenly become title challengers. I don't expect to win the Champions League. I do expect to see better football. And I do think with our squad and better football, we will make the top 4, because I think we've got a superior squad to everybody else fighting out for that 4th place spot. The excitement is more of what can become as opposed to what's going to happen in the here and now. Some United fans will go over the top, but I'm not accountable for them. I don't care what they say. Like they can support the club or have their own opinions. For me as a Man United fan, I'm remaining very level-headed within the excitement that I have and that I hold, and it's one of those things for me. And you are right, Hussein, 100%. There will be injuries because of this. There'll be that embedding. What's going to be intriguing is by the time the Champions League returns. I was talking to a friend of mine today who's fairly well-to-do in the world of sport. He's does a lot of personal training and fitness work with a lot of boxers and a lot of MMA fighters. And I was asking him about it, and he kind of said, you're probably looking at around late February, early March for the squad to get used physically to playing this way. But the ones that haven't had injuries, if you can maintain and not get injured in that time, it will take you that amount of time. There you go. So who knows what you'll be able to do in the Champions League, because by then it could have clicked. The fitness could be there as an example. But I also think going into the market in January is going to be key as well. It might mean that let's go get someone from the summer now as that extra body, because as you say, there's players that are going to be out. But I certainly think a nice statement was made yesterday. For me, the way we went out that first 35 minutes, I looked at it and I was like, we won the ball back in the opponent's half yesterday 12 times. We haven't won it that. Now, listen, this is a fact. We haven't won the ball back in an opponent's half that many times in a game since Fergie was our manager. So when you say people laugh that we've been starving, like, it's not something to laugh at. Like, you've just given a starving child a sandwich here. Like, legit.
That's what I'm saying. Enjoy it. Enjoy it.
I know you are. And I would just say this, and this is Ralph's first game. We've got a big squad. We've got talented players. Some people are going to cook. And, Fred deserves a credit, as you mentioned earlier. I thought he was very, very good yesterday. I was really impressed with our fullbacks. I thought Telles and Delo did really, really well. And funny, because we were winning the ball back so high up the pitch, our defenders weren't exposed to one-on-one defending so often. So suddenly, the holes in Harry Maguire's game, you didn't see them because nobody would run it. Like, these are the little things that, again, it's very small data sample at the minute, but very, very encouraging indeed.
Hey, good question. Are Spurs still finishing above you?
No. So again, if you go back to what I said at the time, I'm very certain with my words. I said if Conte comes in and Man United keep Ollie, then yes.
EGAL, you're such a wind-up merchant. I swear to God.
He's trying to catch me out, but I very rarely make unyielding, sweeping statements. So there's always a caveat I throw in, and it is if we change our manager, we've got a great chance. But what I did tell you about Tottenham, and they're starting to do it. They're not playing brilliantly, as in entertaining. But they're keeping clean sheets. They've won 3 games on the bounce. They've not lost in any league game yet so far, and they have a fairly favourable run as well. And this brings us on to the final point of the show. Ralf did it yesterday. Conte is doing it. The pressure is really being applied upon Mikel Arteta. You guys were talking of our seasons being in the mud. And
Gerrard did it yesterday as well.
Gerrard, I thought Gerrard actually helped yesterday by unless Villa go on like 4. By the way, I hope Villa do win their next game. I'm a big Gerrard fan.
I don't.
Massive Gerrard fan for the next game.
I don't.
I want to ask you, Gooners. I want to go to EGAL first. Are you as a fan base, as a club, are you feeling the pressure now with Tottenham looking better, United with a new manager, West Ham keep impressing, like you said earlier on, Gav? EGAL, are you worried now because you're sitting in 7th? A defeat tonight or a poor result tonight, and maybe you start falling behind. Maybe Mikel Arteta is going to crack under the pressure that's now being applied. What do you think?
I don't think a managerial change for Arsenal will happen this season, mid-season. Arteta is going to keep the job no matter what. They're going to back him no matter what. And a lot of fans like myself who don't think he's the man to win us major honors or get us to that point, the club don't see it in the same way. They see things differently. They see him as the man who's going to steer the ship, get things back to a level where it's where we can put ourselves in the shop window for the next available top manager. And that's how I think they view things. They're going to give him at least until the end of the season. And come the end of the season, if he's in a position that is not favorable for us to get into European football or at least get into Europa League, at that point, then the club will have to make the tough decision.
All is available, EGAL. He got top 4 twice.
I'm not talking about sacking him. I'm not disputing that you're going to keep him unless he has a catastrophic run and loses 7-8 games on the bounce. I agree. My point is, is Mikel Arteta going to step up to the challenge that's now in front of him? That West Ham are looking good. United and Spurs have got these, Spurs have got a world-class manager to look after their good squad. United have got a brilliant squad with a very good coach and team around him. You're now sitting in 7th after, you had a chance. This time on Thursday, you win that game, you go 4th and 8 points clear of Man United. You're now sitting in 7th. Do you think Arteta is going to handle the pressure and maintain your improved parts to your season? Or do you think you're going to fall back? Because no disrespect, 7th and 8th, what's the difference? Like, that can't be good enough for you.
It's not. And if we lose today against Everton, it's full crisis mode all over again. But personally, I think we will win against Everton today. I think we will win against Southampton, or at least get maximum points in the next 2 games. And the West Ham game will be our next tough test. So I think hopefully this is a bounce back performance today. The team, Granit Xhaka's back, so maybe that's a good thing because we have lacked experience in the midfield. And you know what, going forward, I'm hopeful that we can get a result the next 2 games, and it will relieve the pressure for a little bit longer, because you always know we're 1 loss away from a crisis again.
What are you saying, Gav? I mean, your take on Arsenal is often different to EGAL's, and I mean that with both respect to both of you. That's why I like to get different kind of fans on. Do you feel that Arteta and your team are going to step up to this pressure now, or do you feel like you might just start to dwindle away from the top 4 race and then maybe even struggle for top 6? Like, where's your head at with things right now?
I look at performances rather than results a lot more. And like EGAL alluded to it earlier on. It's like, oh yeah, if you look at it from the beginning of the season, beginning of the calendar year up until this point, we're doing really well. But if you actually look at the performances, I don't really see where Arsenal are playing well. Off the top of my head, I can think of a 20-minute, half-hour period in the Tottenham game. The Aston Villa game, I thought we played really well, and periods in the Newcastle game. Other than that, I can't think of when we had a top quality 90 minutes. So if Arsenal don't take the lead in the first 15, 20 minutes, that always panics me. You even said it earlier on today. It's like, oh, like when you just grind out that result, you said it, Hussam said it, grind out that result, get that victory right at the end. I've never trusted Arsenal to do that. Not in the last 15, nearly 20 years. So I don't think he knows how to manage a team properly. I think he's a fantastic coach, and I think he's going to go on and do wonders as a top quality coach. But as a manager, I just don't feel like he's the right person for the role. And going up to Everton, we don't travel very well to Everton. We always end up going there in December as well. I don't know what it is. And that's me being like pessimistic. It might sound to some, but it's me being honest. And if you go back and have a look at other games that we've played against Everton, and when we hit that sort of like November, December period, we're terrible between now. It gets to March, we go on a mad run in March, and I was like, oh, can you imagine if we did that at the beginning of the season, in the middle of the season? We'll be pressing for top 4, or we'll be pressing for to win the league. It's the same sort of stuff every year, and until there is major change, and that's nothing to do with the Cronkies. I couldn't give 2 shits about them. What I care about more is about the clientele that we have out there on the pitch, and the right manager guiding them. Something that I know, I've noticed this for years, and it does my head in. It happens so many times against Man United. Defending badly, never going to attack the ball. See, like how Man United just flipped the switch already, now starting to press people in the other half of the pitch. Arsenal like backing off, and the next thing you know, it's too like the opposition have got an overlapper because we haven't put any pressure on. We should be doing that. We should be 2 against 1 in our favour. Just snuff it out, feed it back to the goalkeeper. Then we know Ramsdale's got great distribution. He can then spread it out and do whatever he needs to do. But I just can't see. If Arsenal don't get anything today, I can see Southampton coming up to. People aren't scared of us. I can see Southampton coming to the Emirates on Saturday and being like, do you know what? Screw it, we'll give them a game like they did last season and the season before. West Ham, they're on fire at the moment. Leeds love to press.
I hear where you're coming from completely, and as I say, I stand by what I've said all year. I think Arsenal made improvements this year, but this is where Arteta is going to prove to the doubters that he is of quality to manage Arsenal. And I think with some Arsenal, forget the staunch Arteta outers that unless he wins the Premier League invincibly, they'll probably still dislike him. So forget them.
If he wins the league, they want him sacked.
Yeah. Put them so disregard their opinions. I'm talking about the moderate people in the middle that are and ahhing over how good he is. I see those people looking at the other members of the top 6 and saying, look at their managers compared to ours. I keep hearing Arsenal fans say, yeah, but we've got the youngest squad. Ralf Rangnick, sorry. Ten Hag can develop young players and is a better, more accomplished coach than Mikel Arteta. Now, I'm not suggesting you sack him now and go and get Ten Hag. That isn't the point I'm making.
Great.
But that's the point. You saying that would be great is proof that you don't fully back Arteta, because if Arteta was the guy to get you back to the promised land, no manager would turn your head. If you're a married man, EGAL, I know you love your wife. No woman's turning your head, are they?
Halle Berry might,
because she's your soulmate. That's the point. If you're with someone, but every 5 minutes you're in DMs, you're looking elsewhere. You know that meme of the guy looking down the street and the thing walking past? If that's you with your manager, you don't back Arteta. You can tweet that you do, you can say that you do, but if today Ten Hag left Ajax and you're an Arsenal fan, like we should go and get him, then you don't back Arteta. You don't back him.
Today will be very telling.
No,
everything you just said will be answered today against Everton, because it's going to be very telling what happens today, because exactly what EGAL just said. If they win, everything's okay. If they lose, crisis mode. I just want to say on West Ham, as the great Charles Barkley says, guaranteeing it right now. Guaranteed. West Ham are not finishing in the top 4. Guaranteeing it right now. I think it's between 3 teams. It's between Spurs, it's between United, it's between Arsenal. Forget West Ham. We've seen many West Hams across the years. They rarely finish in the top 4. Let's just say it as it is. Everton in the 2000s, after that Leicester, after that blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing every time, and they eventually just drop off. Even the 3 goals that they scored against Chelsea, besides the Bowen goal, they've been scoring loads of set-piece goals. Let's not sit here and act like they have this sustainable, incredible attack and shit. So just push West Ham to the side. Tottenham, Man United, and Arsenal. If I'm being honest, with Tottenham Hotspur, they have the best manager out of the 3 and the worst squad out of the 3. The team, the players, listen, Conte said it himself, the level of the Tottenham is not too high. He said it himself. He fully came out in a press conference and said it, because when you look at that squad, the team they are fielding, it's actually crazy. I'm looking at names like Eric Dyer, Oliver Skipp, Harry Winks, Ben Davies. Hugo Lloris has been Tottenham keeper since I was a child. He still is. Like, it's mad with Tottenham. So they have the worst team. With Arsenal, it's a bit in the middle. They have a good squad. The players that came in are all the good players. Their manager is not incredible, not shit. With Man United, they have a great squad and they have a good manager as well. Rangnick is not an incredible manager; he's a good manager. So I think it's between those 3 and who can muster up something. West Ham will fall off, guaranteed right now. So it's going to be between those 3. The one caveat that will make things tilt a lot in Tottenham's favor is if in January they have an incredible transfer window. Then this entire thing changes. If by January 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, Tottenham have brought in 2-3 players and they're experienced and they're good players and etc., then I'm like, oh shit, with Conte, now we're talking a different ball game. So that's the only thing that's going to be an interesting caveat. But besides that, if all squads are the same till the end of the season, I would even go as far as say it's between United and Arsenal in the 4th.
Let me just say this, Hussam. With all due respect to West Ham, they play terrible football, and everyone gasses them up. They're very overrated.
Really? It's better than your football. It's better than Arsenal.
It's not, Terry. Come on, be subjective.
It's not. I don't think it's better than Arsenal, but I don't think it's terrible.
Terry, they just played at home to Brighton and had like 2% possession, and they scored from a corner.
They play terrible football. They get goals. What they do is they do similar to what Chelsea do. They play winning football.
I'm sorry. Stop trying to down a club the size of West Ham with the money they have compared to you. Their football pound for pound is better than Arsenal's. In fairness, in the last 12 months, but you should be judging it on pound. You can't judge. It's pound for pound when it comes to a club West Ham size versus Arsenal versus Liverpool. You cannot be
overrate them, Terry.
No, I don't overrate them. They're doing very, very well right now. And listen, certain teams that are lesser play really pretty football, but because their football's pretty and open, they'll never challenge for a top 4 place. You have to be smart. You have to get the balance right. If West Ham opened up and were not pragmatic in so many of their games, they would be losing more. In fact, I actually said it the other day, West Ham open up too much when they play the likes of the Brightons of this world because they're a little bit more confident. They should just play their game. Tottenham did it yesterday. Tottenham countered at home against Norwich. That's Conte's way. Play your football with what you've got, and you'll win football matches. I understand some people want it to be pretty and great. I'm not judging West Ham on how pretty their football is. I'm judging it on its efficiency and their ability to win games, and more so than the top six, because they don't have the money or the manager or whatever to be able to compete with any of our clubs, and they are. And that for me deserves massive congratulations and support. Pound for pound, best team in the league right now.
Okay,
West Ham, they really, really are.
That statement right there,
guys. I'm gonna hop off because I have to talk.
Pound for pound, pound for pound, pound for pound. Take care, mate. Of course, pound for pound. I don't see why they can't be. We're talking pound for pound.
The only reason why I disagree is I get the pound for pound point, but what I'm saying is when you actually watch them, they're not aesthetically pleasing. They just win games. They get things done. Things done. And if this was Arsenal or Chelsea or Manchester United winning the way they win, we would say we got lucky or we got a set piece.
But they're not Man United.
They're not playing lucky football though. And their midfield is dominant. Souček and Rice. There's not a better double pivot, as the kids call it nowadays, in the Premier League right now. They're doing exactly what Tielemans and Didi were doing for a couple of years when they were saying, "Oh yeah, Leicester have got the best midfield. Tielemans and Didi are doing nothing right now. Tielemans and Didi are doing nothing right now. Tell me the best two midfielders right now in the Premier League. You can't, other than those two.
I respect West Ham.
They're controlling and dominating midfields. They're getting the ball out wide, and they're finding goals. Antonio is scoring for club and country. He's a flat track bully and he's scoring goals. I'll tell you what, Antonio is doing what Chelsea thought that Lukaku would be doing this season.
Let me just say this. I feel like we're treating West Ham like they're a lesser country in the Olympics, competing in a competition which they should not be competing in. And when it comes,
they're a mid-table club that last season finished sixth, and this season are doing really well. So then, yeah, we should be talking about.
In that case, this is a miracle story, and we're rating them higher than they really should be, because their football has not been that great. They've been just nicking wins, and overall, in the grand scheme of things, they're ticking away and they're getting stuff done. But I don't think it's sustainable throughout the whole season. I don't think they're going to finish in the top four space.
And maybe they
will finish top four now. I can't see top four.
Do you know West Ham? I don't mean it rudely to West Ham fans. They've never won a league title as a club. I think third is the highest their club. They may have finished second once. Second or third is the highest they've ever finished as a club. I think they might have finished third twice or second once and third once in the history of their club. If they come sixth in this era, and let me give you an example, right? Last 2 summers, right? I'm not going to really judge what happened before that because Moisey went there. But if you actually go through the last 3 summers combined, they've spent like I'm just trying to add up very, very quickly. It's about £220 million in the last 3 years they've spent, which isn't a small amount of money, but it isn't as you think about the fact that Chelsea, you kind of compared them to Chelsea, spent 100 million on one player this year, as an example. That's bought them a whole squad that they've spent, and they have spent money. No one's denying that West Ham United haven't spent any money, but they spend significantly less on transfers. And equally, what's more important to focus on is the money they give in wages. The Arsenals, the Man Uniteds, the Chelseas dwarf their wage, but wages are often more of a focus of a football club when it comes to buying players than the actual transfer fees themselves, because a lot of that can be raised through various means. But I'm not going to play West Ham down. I think West Ham have got a chance of top 4 this year. I said it earlier on this week. They've got to buy though. If they actually want to make the top 4, they've got to buy some players in January, because I don't think you've now seen Zuma get their hamstring injury. They've already got Agbona, I think, is out as well. You start going into the Dawsons of this world and you really start to lack that top 4 quality. But look, I think pound for pound, people often get confused by the phrase pound for pound. Pound for pound, they've been the best team in the league this year, because them being in 4th is more impressive than City being top.
Okay, but guess what, Terry? They go and play Brighton away from home. They get absolutely dominated for majority of the game. They get a draw. No one speaks about it. Arsenal do the same thing. Get a draw.
But Arsenal got history. West Ham have got Arsenal got a richer history than West Ham.
That is my point. That is my point. Because they're a lesser team, and because they don't have the history, and we're looking at pound for pound their price of their players, we're a little bit overrating them too much. Let's be real. They're gonna go back to the norm. They're going to go back to the norm.
That's the point. Everybody's celebrating what they're achieving. You can't compare Arsenal. You cannot compare Arsenal And you spent 150 million pounds this summer. So what they've spent in 3 years, you spent 2/3 of that in one summer.
Terry, are you getting what I'm saying now?
You spent nearly double them in the last couple of years, right?
I'm not talking about
them not dominating the game against Brighton and getting a draw isn't gonna. They're never going to yield the same criticism as a team like Arsenal with your plethora of money, resources, pulling power, and history. I don't get your point.
My point is, realistically, right now they might be 4 points ahead of us, but the way they're playing and the way that we're playing, we are being judged on a higher pedestal than them, and that is why they are looked at as this great team when they're in actual reality they're not playing great football. No. Let me finish. In actual reality, because they're the underdogs, they're not playing great football. They're also in Europe, so people are judging. They're rating them because they're playing 2 times a week. Also, they don't score a lot of their goals from beautiful sets of play. They score from a lot of set pieces and moments where Antonio puts his team on the back. So when it comes down to it, I'm saying this West Ham team is being a little bit overrated based on the league position that they're in right now.
I think you're totally misunderstanding everybody's points. They're actually doing very well in the Europa League, which is
great,
which is very, very good. They're being rated how they should be. They're being praised for punching well above their weight. You can't overrate it. Them being congratulated for being in a higher position than anybody expected is the opposite to overrating someone. You can't you're not overrated for being celebrated for in the moment being in a position which is ahead of yourself. That's
Terry,
the opposite.
You just said what they're doing right now is more impressive than City and Liverpool.
Pound for pound.
Of course it is. Yeah, the reason why is because West Ham are they've been bottom feeders for years. You know, last year I did a pod with the We Are West Ham guys, and like the beginning of last season, was it when they were knocking around like 15th, whatever, and I was like, oh no, they might go down again. They've been a yo-yo team quite a bit over the last 20 years. So the fact they've done that and now they've come back to the Premier League, they've had a few mid-table finishes, the fans are kicking off, moaning about it. They've now got themselves 6th last season somehow, and it's like, hold on a minute, everyone's like, oh yes, because the other teams aren't doing so well. You know, Arsenal have fallen off, Tottenham have fallen off, blah, blah. And now this season, they've maintained that. In fact, they maintained the middle of their last season and bumped it into this season and are showing people, look, we're here to ramp with you guys. We're here to compete. Yeah. So therefore, of course, they're pound for pound because like right now with the squad that they've got, they shouldn't be anywhere higher than 10th. They're 4th.
Yeah, Gal, I don't mean this rudely. Do you actually understand what the term pound for pound means?
Yes, based on the money spent.
Well, it's just that. It's money, size, the quality of squad, the manager. Example being in boxing, Canelo is currently rated as the pound-for-pound best boxer in the world. But he wouldn't last a round in the ring against Anthony Joshua because Anthony Joshua is a heavyweight, and if he lands a punch on him, he's knocking him out cold because he's too big. But pound for pound, Canelo's seen as the best. They can't compete against each other. West Ham cannot compete with Man City or Liverpool or Man United on paper over the course of a season because the money, the depth of squad and everything else outweighs it, makes them heavyweights versus middleweights. It's as simple as that. So when you suddenly have a middleweight that's actually getting in, imagine this, imagine we actually do this. Imagine you put a very good middleweight, the best middleweight in the world is in Canelo. Say you put him in the ring with a heavyweight and he knocked out the heavyweight. Imagine Amir Khan goes in the ring with Anthony Joshua and knocks him out. What kind of mess, what would the reactions around the world be?
Unbelievable.
That's what West Ham are doing in a football sense. Right now, they are going toe-to-toe with people well above their weight category, and they're sparking some of them out. It's tremendous. That's not overrating someone. Overrating someone is trying to pretend that Arsenal coming 5th is like an underdog story.
Okay, maybe it's not overrating them. Maybe it's not overrating them. I've acknowledged that they're overachieving, and I think that they're going to go back to the norm.
And they probably, and they may do, they may do, and they will settle out at some point because they're probably going to lose a couple of their star players in the forthcoming time. But no one's talking about West Ham like they're suddenly part of the top 6. But look, there we go. Score prediction for tonight, boys. What are you saying, Gav? What are you saying?
I'm doing a watch along for tonight. Actually, it's going to be the first time we've done a watch along on my channel, and I'm going with a 2-0 Arsenal win, but it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be absolutely horrible. Can't see it being pretty stuff. 2-0 Arsenal.
How about yourself? You said earlier you're going to batter them. So what's the score going to be?
3-1.
3-1. It's good scoreline. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Arsenal. You're a much better team than them. You should not be getting beat by Everton at all. There is no excuse. They're shit. They're absolutely shit right now. This is, time that you guys stepped up and did something. We've got a new function now on StreamYard, which means you can star your super chat. So I did save them all here. So you can star them so we can't miss them anymore. I'm so glad they're listening to the feedback. Two guys that hate Chelsea can hear the jealousy in their voice. How can you talk like this when it's mistakes made us drop points? We didn't get beat. That's man like Ryan. Bro, I was actually thinking about you the other day. I've not seen you in a while. Thank you very, very much for coming back onto the show and having your say. Continuously saying that Chelsea is in third gear and they have levels to go. However, we can also say there is levels. This is their level. Maybe this is their limit. So some people agreeing. Oh, hello, little one. Bless. Agreeing with a gal there. Fred literally costs more than Partey, by the way. He's what Nemo's got to say. He did. He was £50 million. Twisted says, Terry, if United win the title, would you twerk for us in a Chelsea shirt? No, I would never wear another club's kit. Ever. Anyone who, honestly, never wear another club's kit, domestic or international, disgrace. Ralf knows that and changed it right away. Something other managers wouldn't have done before. That's what Baz once said. SS here says, I'm eager to see a gal's face after Arsenal drop points today. 100% it's happening today. Lol is what SS has got to say in the house. Man like, I didn't even see this. Man like stars in the house. He says, is the phrase sellout sold his soul, no loyalty? It isn't, but very good guess at the Terra secret phrase. Original base. Sancho looks like he's finding his feet. Yeah, he does. He's starting to cook out there. Arsenal fans for the last 3 weeks went from free hit against Liverpool to no pressure on us against United. And now it's must win against Everton. That's so true, though. I've been talking to a lot of gooners about that. Like, Liverpool, you guys have been moving mad. The goalposts, honestly, do you even know what size the goalposts are meant to be anymore? Like, you guys change the tune every week.
I don't think you've heard me or Gav ever use the term free hit unless we're talking about fantasy. So I don't know. No,
you may not use the term free hit, but it's the suggestion of people are always going to say what they think you're implying. Like before the United game was winning or losing this game isn't going to make any impact on our season. But then people are right now, it's like we have to beat Everton now because we've gone down to 7th. And it's like, yeah, and if you would have won the game last week, you'd be 4th. Well, you wouldn't be because West Ham won. But Jack, oh no, I've already had that one. Normally I agree with Hussein, but West Ham over Arsenal. Jack here says, Gal, you say West Ham have been sneaking wins, yet Arsenal do it. You call it progress. That's terrible. Terrible football finished above your team last year is what's been said there.
So they agree with me. It is terrible football.
No, they're being sarcastic.
Either way.
No, that's I can read the sarcasm in there. Can't compare Arsenal to West Ham. Isn't Arsenal supposed to be an elite team? West Ham deserve all the praise they get. Dude, just be hating is what's been said there. I did have another super chat and I can't find it right now. It's from my guy Nabil. It's one I didn't star because I started reading these out. Where's it gone from Nabil? It came. Here it is. It's a salty Arsenal fan. They will finish above Arsenal. I guarantee that. Egal, you finished 8th the last 2 seasons. You guys will drop off 2. It's a fair point. It's a fair point if you look at consistency, but we will see. Listen, Terry, you skipped my super chat. Nah, I haven't even seen your super chat, bro. Did I? Let me. I didn't know the star function at the beginning of the show, so maybe I missed it. I didn't know it was new. They added this in without telling us, right? They don't send you notifications. I'm going to check your name out here, Kev. I found it. Is the phrase stopgap signing? The phrase isn't stopgap signing, but thank you for having a go at that. Listen, everyone that has tuned in to the Football Terrace, thank you. We're live after Everton versus Arsenal this evening. I do want to go and watch Monday Night Football because I want to see Erling Haaland talk. I actually have never really heard him talk outside of an interview. It's going to be an intriguing show tonight on Sky Sports. So we're back for that later. Tomorrow, me and Lee Gunn are live at 1 o'clock. The Bet Victor's top 6 show is back at 6 o'clock. I know the Champions League's on, but they're dead rubbers anyway. So the top 6 show is back. We should have a Chelsea fan on. The Chelsea fans have been in hiding. They've been in hiding since Saturday. They're coming out of hibernation to talk to us. That's on tomorrow, plus Champions League reactions as well. We've got another Straight Facts podcast with Jess and I on Wednesday, and lots more to come as well. Until next time, people, take care of yourselves. Retweet, like, subscribe, check out EGAL's channel, check out Gav's channel, and we'll see you all again soon.